you two switch there?
You sit here. I'll sit there.
All right. Do you guys need a whiteboard? No, do you need a whiteboard?
But it's not, it's like broken, so I don't know whose this is.
Is everyone ready from the media? Okay, my comments are going to be brief because I'm off to the side, but thank you for joining us today. As I indicated in my email earlier, we have an update today on a 2024 homicide that occurred in South Bend. This is something that we do between the police department and the prosecutor's office when there is a case that generates a lot of public interest and a lot of community concerns. So without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Lieutenant Kayla Miller to walk us through this case, and then we will be chatting with other members of the department and the prosecutor's office when it comes to the new update.
Thank you, Ashley. So what we're discussing today and why we've asked you to come here is in reference to the June 14th, 2024 fatal shooting of 16-year-old Riley High School student Elias Enix Pettiford. It was approximately 5:45 p.m. when South Bend police were called to the 500 block of East Victoria on reports of a shooting. Upon arriving on scene, officers were flagged down by witnesses and quickly taken to the backyard of a residence where Elias was lying. Officers observed that he had an injury to his head, and he was quickly transported to Memorial Hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. During the subsequent autopsy, the forensic pathologist determined that Elias died as a result of a gunshot wound to the head. The South Bend Police Department's Violent Crimes Unit investigated this homicide and ultimately collaborated with the St. Joseph County Prosecutor's Office, who filed charges against the suspect, 19-year-old Derek Miles. Okay.
So after that investigation by the South Bend Police Department, we filed charges actually on July 11th of this year, but we sealed those charges. And we did that so that it would give the police department and law enforcement an opportunity to be able to find Mr. Miles safely. We worked with our partners federally, our Marshal Service, South Bend Police Department. He has moved a couple of different places, and Lieutenant Miller can talk about where you guys may have looked for him. And we've exhausted our ability to be able to locate him without the general public's help. And so today's press conference is first to announce that there are 2 charges against Mr. Miles. One is murder, and that's the penalty is between 45 years and 65 years. And the other is a firearm enhancement, where an additional 5 to 20 years can be added on to it. And before I continue, everything that we say here are merely accusations. Every person is innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. But the reason we are talking to you today is asking those who may know where Mr. Miles is to please contact either 911, the non-emergency number at 574-235-9201, or you can leave an anonymous tip with Crime Stoppers. We met with the family of Elias today. Actually, we met with Elias's father. His mother is not, did not want to meet, not because she didn't care, but the exact opposite. This has devastated her. And I think this has hurt our community as well, and that's another reason we wanted to let you know. Law enforcement worked very hard in working on and trying to solve this. But we met with them when we first unsealed the case earlier today to let them know so that they are not finding out on a press conference or hearing it on the news. But I can't emphasize more strongly, if you know where he is, please let us know. Don't confront him. Contact law enforcement. They're equipped to be able to do what they need to do to be able to hold him accountable. And if a court finds him guilty, then so be it.
So in reference to the suspect, Derek Miles, we do believe that he has connections to both South Bend and Chicago. So once again, we've exhausted resources leading up to today to try and locate him. And at this time, we want to ask for our community's help. Should you know where he is or have any information, again, contact 911, the South Bend Police Department's non-emergency number, or anonymous tips through Michiana Crime Stoppers, and that information is up on the screen as well.
No, I just want to add that Elias's family, they deserve answers. Our community deserves answers. I will tell you, students at Riley High School, one of my sons being one of them, deserve answers. And we feel strongly that Mr. Miles can provide those answers that we're looking for.
Can you talk anything about the context of what happened, why this happened?
I don't know if you guys have gotten yet a copy of the probable cause affidavit, but according to witnesses, Mr. Miles believes that our victim and the other kids who were there threw rocks at his relative's home and damaged the home. And Elias tried to let him know, no, we didn't do that, and Mr. Miles didn't like that answer and then pulled out his gun and fired.
Was the Victoria Street home, was that his house, or was it just someone else's house?
That was someone else's home that he was visiting.
Okay.
Yeah, by the way, if you're wondering why she looked at me, there are some things we can't talk about, and it doesn't mean we don't want to ever talk about it, but this is only preliminary. All of those answers would come across in the court of law. We've given enough information to at least let folks know kind of the setting, but a lot of the details, you're going to have to wait until we're in court.
Did the victim know this guy?
No, they did not know each other.
I think as a final wrap-up, after the cameras are off, two of the detectives that handle the bulk of our homicides and violent crime cases are sitting in here. You've all heard me say it before of how this affects them, their families. This is a family member that they helped investigate and hopefully bring conclusion to. And an entire community, I would ask that you talk to them afterwards. I would appreciate it. I don't know if they would, but I would certainly appreciate it to get a perspective of what how heavily these things weigh on them.
I guess for reference purposes, sitting next to me is Michelle Galabuski. She is one of my chief deputy prosecutors, and she's in charge of our homicide prosecutions. Any other questions?
I
Yeah.
know that you said you talked with his father today. Is there any words his dad wanted to give, or can you tell me a little bit about the person that Elias was?
I unfortunately was not able to make that meeting. I know Michelle was there.
He was very thankful for all the work that the South Bend Police Department had done in working this case. He said Elias was a good kid. He never got into trouble. He was your typical teenage boy, and that's the extent of what he told us today. He's just very thankful for all of the work that law enforcement has put into the investigation.
And he didn't want to bug the investigators.
Correct, yes.
So he wasn't calling all the time. And there are times where victims' families do call, and we'll be more than happy to talk with them and let them know. But I'm going to make a supposition, he had faith that investigators were doing their job, and was very thankful that we could let him know that we're seeking justice for his child.
Questions?
Okay, thank you very much for coming.
Oh, you,
Would you be able to have that one clip still up of the suspect for a little bit?
Oh, yeah, and I can you can email it to you too. Or
Oh,
if you
okay.
want the-
That'd probably be best.
Okay, yeah, as soon as I'm done here, I can email it.
Perfect.
so
saying that
When
there's a
isn't
family connection, they had a family connection.
No,